Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Dead Men Tell No Tales. We are so excited that you have joined us this evening, or if you are catching us on VOD, whenever you've decided to tune in. And we are shaking with excitement because this is the last episode of Dead Men Tell No Tales before we go on hiatus for the winter holidays. So today's adventure promises to be interesting, I am sure. I am Tessa, the wonderful and ever entirely too verbose DM of Saltmarsh, and we'll go ahead and do a quick intro of our characters. We'll start with Crackers. Where can
Good
folks find
evening.
you?
Why, they can find me here, of course, on this very stream where I play Crackers, the Awakened Parrot Bard. I am joined, as I always am, by my assistant Matthew, who handles my dice rolling and other sundry tasks. You can find him as the Dungeon Master of the Land Above podcast, and some other projects as well that will be forthcoming that can't talk about just yet, but keep an eye out.
At some point. Some point in the future. Alrighty. Gwillin. Oh, we have had a small break in stream. I'm not sure what happened, but go ahead and introduce yourself anyways, and we'll have our production manager hop on that.
Okay, I'm Autumn Blaze. I play Gwillin, and you can find more about my art and writing on my Twitter, Lasalanta Blaze, and you can find me here on Friday nights and potentially other things to do.
Excellent. And let's see, Jaffer.
Hi, I'm Zach. You can find me on Twitter at DuskFayDruid. You can also find me on the Nerdsmith Discord where I run one-shots. I play Jaffer Zanzib. She is a rock gnome artificer of the artillerist variety. I'm using the original Unearthed Arcana because big old cannons on a ship is kind of what I'm going for.
Excellent. And let's see here, Fortune.
Hello, I'm Jay. You can find me on Twitter at J2YSTXT. I do art and cosplay things, and I've done art for this stream. And I play Fortune, the Tiefling monk.
Indeed. And I believe Coral is here now and will be joining us shortly, and then I will have her introduce herself. And there she is.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I'm Heather. I play Coral, the Lutrudine Bard. You can find me here on our Twitch stream every Tuesday as Val in Shenanigans, or here on Fridays as Coral. And then you can also find me on the Geek Thyself podcast, and on Twitter at amethyst_magic with a CK.
Yeah. How dare you be late, Heather? Saving lives and stuff. I mean, gosh, where's your priorities?
I know.
I'm teasing
I need
you.
to get it straightened out.
I am teasing. I definitely could not do what you do on a daily. For those of you who do not know, Heather is a vet tech and works in a cat hospital. So on the nights when she is late, it's frequently because she is literally saving lives. So we give her huge props and much love. I know today was not the best. So what happened last time on Saltmarsh? You all had been sailing for about a day, and Gellin talked to you about his past, and then decided to head to an island that the captain who he was expecting to take him had taken his cargo of people. You traveled to the island, and while there met a plucky little goblin by the name of Pugnut, who had escaped the slavers' pens and helped you find your way up to the temple that had been being used as a holding area And on the way, he introduced you to a variety of the local fauna with his very colorful descriptions of what they were, including, let's see here, there was the red-bellied scaly boy, the Tyrannosaurus rect, and the what was it?
Mossback Chunkosaurus.
The mossback
The
Chonkosaurus, yes.
Yeah.
You guys ended up getting 5 dinosaur eggs to bring back with you of the red-bellied scaly boys because they are frequently used as lizard folk mounts. And then you found a giant Stinkosaurus that had been killed by a Pugnut, and it was very gross. There was a random bit of chaos that happened in the middle of that stream, which we shall not discuss. I don't know what happened, but suddenly the great squid-bird appeared and things exploded, and you freed all of the slaves, managed to get a second ship, which has been named the Clockwork Dragon. And then you also learned about what these cultists that had slaughtered the entire crew of the other ship had been up to. They have opened a pit to the abyss in the name of Arinth, which they are calling the Pit of Hatred. And with that, they have also now conjured an island called the Island of Bone from the seabed, where all of the bones of anyone killed in shipwrecks have been coalesced into one island, which will now be a port of call for those who serve Rinth. They hope to grow the island into a palace for the Lady of Undeath herself, so that's, fun and exciting. And that's where we left off. So, you have a couple of options here. You can head home to try and see if you guys can potentially stop a war. You can try and find the Island of Bone and put a stop to that. Or you can say screw it and go somewhere else entirely. Gellin has suggested that should you want to, he knows of an island not too far from Saltmarsh where you could put to port and try and seek some allies if you also think that might be a good idea. I leave it to you.
Allies might be a good idea, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't really mind either way. I mean, I think dealing with this cult might be a good idea, but then again, I mean, Gellin doesn't need to be with us the entire time. He can go back and take his place back on the council.
I might be better to get some allies and send him back to handle that while we take care of other things. I still think that we should use this as a point to bring people together as well.
Agreed. I mean, if we're going to be going up against a bunch of pirates that are worshipping Rinth, then we should really make sure we've got some allies and try to get everyone working together. It's going to be a big problem.
Exactly.
Good to go back, because if everyone in Saltmarsh is fighting with each other, then that makes a good point for pirates, undead ones, to go and attack and maybe take. And because they're fighting amongst each other, they're not unified against, undead. And also, how long is creating a palace for? A god is going to take probably a while, probably longer than it will take for people in Saltmarsh to start fighting each other. Imagine it's a day or something.
We might have some time on that.
There's also the fact that we don't know exactly how many pirates we'd be dealing with. And I mean, on the other hand, if we wait longer, they might get more allies coming to help them as well. But we don't know anything about the island or what we're going to be dealing with. Having more people to help us is always a good idea.
Good idea. It also might help if we go to the lizard folk, and if they want to take, that trek to take back that fort. I don't remember, but maybe do that and then get allies that way as well.
We've also got a few gifts we can give them.
True.
We
A
do.
lot of options. We do, yes, we do, with those eggs.
That's right, we found 6 of them, and if they get as big as what Pugnote was saying, then we can't exactly have one on the ship. She looks at,
No.
at Gwilyn.
They might be
They'd be a bit too big,
a little big.
especially for a land animal.
If they can swim, maybe they can pull the ship along.
Crackers, you have been quiet. Do you have an idea on what you guys should be doing?
I'm considering for the moment. There are benefits to both courses of action. Um, I suppose there is one tidbit of information that everyone should be aware of as we are making this decision. Urzok,
Hmm.
would you mind sharing with everyone else what you told me about the Scarlet Brotherhood and Skerrin's role in all of this?
Oh. Sure. Scarin Wave Chaser is, well, he's a local, kind of head of an organization known as the Scarlet Brotherhood, and, he's been trying to sow chaos and discontent for quite some time, including now trying to incite civil war with the monarch. You guys probably know him as Anders' well, helper, I guess. But yeah, he's bad news. And I think his involvement is trying to bring back the pirate princes and potentially also maybe plotting to murder a few folks on the council.
Are you serious, Scarin?
Yeah, for a while I was working with them before I knew more.
If we're going to bring this to the council,
Nice.
it might be good to get solid proof of this rather than just hearsay.
I think Scarin may have been the one who hired Tweedledum and Tweedledee. And he kind of jerks his head back towards Tack and Orville. I have no proof, like Jaffer says, but I think his
That's
hands
okay.
have been all over it.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. Complicates things a bit, though.
Well, personally, I feel more equipped to take care of Scarin than I do to take care of an undead island. The one man, like, it's easy. Just throw him in the ocean or something. But that could be handled much easier, I think.
I mean, Gellin is part of the council still, as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
So he goes back, that's a respected voice. Coming to this allegation, we can investigate. Could be a good thing. The Scaring guy probably has a lot of incriminating stuff in his place of living.
Gellin kind of pops up. I am not entirely sure how much my name has been damaged in the time that I've been gone. I don't disagree with you. It would be good to get back and good to try and take action. I would be concerned about showing up without extra support. If the Brotherhood as is involved, as our druid friend says, it is likely more than just Scarron behind everything. There could be more leaders, higher up positions, perhaps. I know of an island not too far. It's called the Island of Pleasures, but don't let the name fool you. There's quite a few good, noble, sturdy people there. Like to do good. I have a contact that might be helpful. But I'll leave it in your hands, this decision.
Which is to toss around. We can easily hire quite a few people with this.
Money is not necessarily endless for me, but, well, Refram owes me a few favors, and the island does have a very well put together militia that we could call in a few favors for.
Maybe add another ship to the fleet.
Like that idea.
At the very least, we could probably find a few more bodies for each of the ships. We've got enough crew to run them both, but we're a bit sparse on actual fighters right now.
If we do head back to Saltmarsh, I suggest we put into port elsewhere and walk in. We don't necessarily want to tip our hands by showing up with two ships. We might want to be a little bit more surreptitious.
I'd keep the Clockwork Dragon rather further from port. They didn't see us come in on that one, or leave on that one. They shouldn't see it come in just in case. It'd be better to keep it as secret as we can for the moment.
Agreed.
Till we know what's going on back home. I know the coast fairly well. I could probably help you find some easily hidden locations for a ship that size.
There is an inlet not too far from the lizard folk campment that you could easily dock the ship. I almost said park the ship like it was a car.
Leave the ship there, speak to the lizard folk, and then head back from that point, maybe.
So what heading are you going to give your navigation crew? Are you putting into port at the Island of Pleasure? Are you heading to the lizard folk encampment? Or are you saying screw it and going balls to the wall and sailing right into Saltmarsh like you own the place?
Don't see it like that. It sounds tempting.
I think Island of Pleasures is a good idea, get our allies beforehand. Seconded? Anyone?
Seconded.
Yes.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but Gillen, how far out of the way is it exactly?
It's on the way back, but it's about a day's journey south of Saltmarsh.
It's not bad. With the possibility of having allies.
Should we inform anyone in Saltmarsh that we have Mr. Primewater with us?
Is there anyone you trust to keep a secret?
Graham?
Your grand, perhaps, Coral.
Family is the only people
the That's been who have been sending the messages to. Maybe my gran or Gwilyn's family, perhaps. Actually, probably both, because then my gran has some support just in case something goes wrong. But
Hey, I don't want her going into that by herself. Not that she can't handle herself in most cases, but best be safe.
yeah, anyone who's felt the backside of her spoon, you don't stick your hand in the bowl when she's still mixing. It's a bad idea. But I can definitely send messages to them. Let them know that we're coming and that there's some concerns with some of the higher ups. That's not a problem. But so just so I know, because I'm trying to picture the map in my head. So we're going north back towards Saltmarsh, or we're heading south towards Saltmarsh?
You are currently heading south towards Saltmarsh.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go.
Just a little past it.
We're gonna have to go past Saltmarsh to get to this Island of Pleasures. So we could stop the lizard folk and then go there.
You could, yes.
Okay.
So I think we should stop at the lizard folk, leave the clockwork dragon. I mean,
And maybe
take
the people we just saved.
Yeah, I mean, just in case there's a fight, I'd hate for them to have to go from imprisonment to a fight. That just doesn't seem fair.
Urzakbar pipes up. I can ensure that they are taken to safety, and I can also treat with the lizard folk to save time and get some allies on board there, freeing you guys up to go ahead and make sail.
Perfect. Maybe you and Pugnut can do that.
Right.
Yeah, Pugnut and I can take care of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We could do it.
Excellent.
That sounds like a good plan. And we've got the 6 dragon eggs, or not dragon eggs, the 6 dinosaur eggs that will definitely be enticing for him as well. So that'll be good.
Yep, lots of red belly scaly boys.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it sounds like a plan then. Swing by the lizard folk, drop off the second ship so they don't see us coming with it, and then sail far enough out that they don't see us on our way down to the Island of Pleasures.
Sounds like we have our head in.
Suppose so. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So you guys make haste. You make your heading. It doesn't take long to get to the lizard folk encampment, where Urzak and Pugnut lead the freed slaves, along with the 6. Yes, Pugnut did turn into a little pink lizard folk girl because Tessa has one voice for that kind of character. Apparently, they are very close. And they head off to go make some arrangements. While you guys all get back aboard the Lady of the Marsh, a significantly smaller and quieter group than you were just a few minutes ago.
While we are visiting the lizard folk, I wish to see if they deal in any manner of poisons.
They know of quite a few natural poisons. Is there something in particular you are looking for?
Something fatal and work in about a minute if ingested.
They offer you, or they tell you about, they don't have any on them, a very specific type of berry that, when cooked down and applied to a weapon, becomes fatal. It's hard to detect, and the berries themselves are kind of silverish in nature, so they tend to blend into any weapon. If you're looking for an ingestible, the berries themselves will also be fatal, but it takes longer.
Very good.
I need a name for these berries. Quillen, what are they called?
All my brain's coming up with now is Crimson Widowmakers.
That's what their name is, the Crimson Widowmaker.
There you go.
And they grow not too far outside of the encampment. Most of the lizard folk children are taught to avoid them because they are very brightly colored and they do have a pleasant aroma, but they should not be eaten unless you want to have bad things happen.
I will attempt to quickly locate some and snap off a little sprig to take with me.
All right. You have a sprig of, let's see here, I'm going to roll a d6. You have a sprig of 4 berries. Each berry
Very cool.
should be, each berry should do, have, enough, each berry is enough to kill 1 person. They are very potent.
And then Crackers became the only person on the show. I see what's going on here.
All right. Is there anything else anybody wishes to do before you set sail again? Anyone being contacted?
I'm gonna contact Gran and probably Gwilyn's mom
Okay.
and fill them in on what's going on.
All right. They tell you to be careful and good luck. And Gran, of course, asks if you're eating well and if you're all right. She misses you and she hopes you're okay. And they will see you soon.
I'll pass along any messages to Gwilyn too from her mom.
Thanks for that. She'll keep it short, I know.
All right. And you will go ahead and load back up if there's nothing else anybody's doing. And you take off for the Island of Pleasures. It is a uneventful journey. The ocean is smooth and clear sailing all the way there. It doesn't take long for Vareed to spot the island. The day is clear and sunny, and you can see the beautiful cerulean blue water reflecting the sun's light. There are verdant trees and a lagoon set in where you can see a few buildings that make up a small town. There is white sandy beaches as you approach.
Is there a dock?
There is a dock.
Well, Gwilyn, this is your ship, so what you want to do?
Well, we're not hiding this time, right, Gillen?
I see no
fairly
need to
friendly here?
hide. They're
Right?
very friendly. It is an idyllic paradise. I mean, why else would they call it the Island of Pleasure? I've done
don't
many
ask
good
questions.
trade here. In fact, those pearls that I may have mentioned have found many homes here.
Noted. Well, we'll go dock then.
As you come into harbor, you see the decaying remains of a once notable port district. Under bent gables, the carcasses of these houses lean against each other, languid, broken, and awaiting the peace of final collapse. Door frames sag, dislocated from sod walls heavy with mildew and splintering timbers supporting rotting boardwalks like broken limbs disappear into the thick, rancid water of the harbor. In numerous places, sections of the boardwalk have fallen away completely, leaving broad holes that expose polluted water.
Things may not have been well recently, Galen.
I can
It's always the quickest.
see that.
This isn't good.
How
No.
long? How long has it been since you've been here?
Several years to be sure, but
Not long enough for it to look like this.
No.
Not just if they left, anyway.
This is awful.
Well, I'm glad we left the prisoners back there.
Me too.
Everyone, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Don't know what to
yeah.
expect.
We'll need to find Master Rephram as soon as we can. Hopefully he's still here.
Hopefully.
You managed to dock quite easily. There are few ships in the harbor. It seems that whatever bustling trade may have been done here seems to have died off.
Do we see anyone around the ships?
Not
Movement?
currently. There is a large dragonborn dock worker who's got a notebook in one hand and is strolling up and down. He looks to be distracted and frankly uninterested in what's happening. His eyes are bagged from what looks like lack of sleep. And as you all leave the ship, he just kind of saunters up, names and purposes.
Captain Gwilyn Hayes.
Captain Jaffer Zanzib.
He's writing your names down in his book. Purpose for a visit? Business or pleasure?
Yes.
Mostly business.
Sure.
The pleasure of business.
Right.
Said always look like this.
Oh, no. This is a nice day. Sometimes it's even worse.
What happened? Good question.
The pirate princess happened. And then the monarch came in.
Noted.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the island is rife with all sorts of things for alchemy, so the monarch sent in his best alchemists, and well, the byproduct of all their experiments just kind of get dumped in the harbor here, so don't drink the water.
Is that
Okay.
why it's that
Okay.
color?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's concerning.
And don't go out after dark. There's been a rash of murders lately. Although, I mean, I think we caught the guy, so I think you should be okay.
Who's in charge here?
Well, that's a question. I guess that would be Constable Jute.
And where can we find this fine fellow?
I don't think that we need to bother the constable. Clearly what we were looking for is not here. Perhaps we'd be better served just continuing on.
Who exactly did you catch for the murders then?
Oh, let's see, what was his name? Jeremy. Really strange. He was such a sweet kid. Wouldn't have thought it possible of any of it. But, yeah, yeah, I forgot his last name. Just hang on one second. He did not forget his last name. Tessa forgot his last name. Take me half a sec.
Don't worry, Crackers. We'll be out of here soon.
I guess it doesn't matter at the moment. But his first name was Jarmy. Yeah, he was a good kid, but I guess, you know, sometimes living gets to you out here. So anyway, he was hung in the square yesterday, so I mean, you're probably fine. And Constable Jute should be making her rounds shortly.
Well, good for him on being hung, but was he hanged?
Yes, he was. Ay, ay, ay.
Right. Well, this is interesting turn of events.
Yeah.
Quite. Gellin steps forward. Is Master Rephram still here? Oh yeah, Rephram. He's just outside the alchemist quarter. He's still here. Good to know. Jeremy Levitch, that was his name.
Got it. And what was your name?
Oh, my name? I am Tack American. It's nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Well, hopefully we won't have too much difficulty for you here. And we'll be heading towards the alchemist's quarter, sounds like.
Great. It's 2 silver, dock fee for the day. Thank you. Good luck. If you need a place to stay, there's the Frother's Lamp. So he points over to this lighthouse that looks kind of like it's leaning to one side, and there's a large tavern kind of jutting out from the bottom of it.
Thanks for that. We're staying on the ship.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure what it is we're going to find here.
The best.
Honestly, I'm not either.
Hopefully,
But
help.
we'll find out shortly.
The hardiest.
You never
folk.
know. I mean, if they survive this.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
At the very least, maybe we could give his friend a ride off the island.
Yes.
Aye.
Maybe.
There's a thought. Maybe they'll help just to get out of here. You never know.
Master Rephram is a wonderful man. He's a good priest, and he has many acolytes under him who I'm sure could help. And last I heard, he had an in with the militia here, who are also tip-top. Things that Saltmarsh does not have, and will need if war is coming.
Right, but Gellin, look at the place.
I'm looking.
It's changed a bit.
I'm not saying we shouldn't go see your friend and find out what he's got and if he could help us, but
Okay.
I don't think we should hang all our hopes on a militia that's ready to go.
I suppose
Especially
you're right.
when there's one dock worker who looks like he'd rather be doing anything else.
There's that. All right, well, onward.
Onward it is.
This place seems strange. I. You would think pirates wouldn't want a place that seems very profitable to just sell things at to have this happen. So,
I agree.
and
Something else is going on here.
yes,
There's also the fact that if the Monarch had their men here, the pirates may not have come around.
that's true, but there were other people that were here first.
Something's very wrong.
I'll agree with that part.
Well, I am inclined to fix every problem we come across. Bigger fish to fry, maybe?
Potentially. We'll at least see what it is. find out a bit more. Can't
We're
hurt.
pretty successful.
Very quietly. Crackers, just so we know going in, are we going with an average parrot or extraordinary parrot today?
Oh, extraordinary, as always.
All right, so we'll be talking to you then.
Yes.
Just as well, I don't think you'd want to eat the crackers here. Who knows what experiments they ran on them.
They might glow in the dark.
They might. And so might you if you eat them.
Good point.
Ah, magical experimentation.
As you guys begin your trek up towards the Alchemist District, you hear what sounds like jeers and shouting coming from around the corner. As you turn the corner, you see several dozen children kind of chasing an elderly man and throwing rocks at him. And he stumbles and he holds out a holy symbol towards them as they accuse him of being a friend of murderers. Onlookers who have their companions with them quickly pull them to the side and ignore them as the poor man lays in the mud.
Is that your friend?
I have a bad feeling about that myself.
Oh, good lord, I think it might be.
Well, let's help him up. Alright there, sir.
Oh, yeah, it's, thank you. Master Rephram kind of looks you all upside down. He's got a pair of glasses pinched on the bridge of his nose. His thinning hair is swept over to one side. He's got plain-looking robes on, but does have a holy symbol to Kepeth around his neck. He looks pretty muddied, but doesn't look like he's been hurt. And as you approach, the children that were jeering and chasing all fled and scattered. Seemed like
Hey,
Once-
off with you then.
you guys got involved, they were no longer interested.
Well, let's get you out of that mud. She'll offer my hand up.
He gratefully takes it. Thank you.
Not a problem if you don't mind. And she prestidigitates.
Oh, thank you. That's infinitesimal. That's infinitely better. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Oh, Gellin, what are you doing here? It's been a while, old friend. Are you all right? Oh, I am fine. We should get out of the streets. Why don't we all head back to my place and we can talk in private?
Sounds like a plan.
Jeff will make a rude gesture to any onlookers.
They all kind of look at you and scatter away.
I get that a lot.
Can't imagine why.
You're just so intimidating.
Thank you.
You guys make your way to the Alchemist Quarter and into a fairly well-kept building. It seems that Rephram has still taken quite some pride in the way his house looks, and it's nice. It's modest, but it's well kept, and its wood and brick exterior seems to be not crumbling, which is something that can't be said for a lot of the buildings. And as you enter, you do see a bunch of different experiments, all in a very neat workshop. and you see a basket of well-mended clothes that have a little tag. Has a little tag on the basket that says "For the Poor." It looks like he has been collecting items to give to the less fortunate here in Saltmarsh, or excuse me, in the Island of Pleasures. Well, welcome. He brings you into his living room. You can see a wall full of half-finished clockwork inventions, just sitting on several shelves, and across the room is just hundreds of books just piled up haphazardly on different subjects. Everything from little, tinkering notebooks to tomes on religion to just the different poetry of sea elves. Just this huge mishmash of a library. Please come in. There's a tiny bed tucked into the corner next to a stove with a kettle on it, and a little stool next to the bed, which has 5 or 6 books laid on top of it. Come on in. I've got tea. If you'd like tea, I have fruit. I've got. I'm pretty sure. I think I might even have some fruit cake here somewhere.
I'm alright, thanks. Gwilyn, by the way.
Oh,
Pleasure to meet you.
nice to meet you. Yes. I'm so glad you're here.
It's nice to meet you. My name's Coral. Are the fruits safe to eat? The doc kind was saying that there's been a lot of experiments on the island and some of the things have been affected.
Oh, well, I don't buy any of my fruit here. I venture further out into the island and I pick my own fresh.
Good plan.
You hear a slight tapping at a window, and he looks over startled and then puts up a finger. I'll be right there. He goes over to the stove and he pours out what smells really good. It's like a thick stew. You can smell fish and vegetables, and it's probably the best smelling thing you have experienced in this town so far. It looks very rich and hearty. And he opens up a cupboard and pulls out a hunk of deep black bread and puts it next to on top of it, and goes over to a window and kind of opens the door, and you see a small urchin child there that he just surreptitiously passes the bowl of stew and bread to, and the little child scurries off. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Not at all. What exactly happened?
Oh, I mean, are you looking? I guess I need a little bit more context. Are you speaking about what happened recently? Are you looking about what happened to the island? Are you looking at what happened with the murders?
What happened
There's a lot
to
of things going on.
I respect that. There's a lot. This isn't exactly what we were expecting. We came here hoping to find help, and it looks like you need help.
Oh, well, I mean, we have a little bit of an issue, I suppose, but
Just a bit.
it's just, well, I mean, things get old and they do fall into disrepair. The monarch put in a new council when they took over, and it's been a little bit of growing pains, but I'm sure that it'll turn around at some point.
Dangerous water and experiments
Well,
and people pushing you down in the street.
well, the council seems to have other priorities.
I see that.
But
No
what
offense.
is it that I can do for you? If you said you were looking for help, I might be able to assist.
Oh yes, we were told there was a well-trained militia here that we might be able to get to help us in stopping a war. Is that still the case?
A water with the undead, of all things.
Oh, well, the undead
Very
are particularly nasty. Yes, Constable Jute does have a very good militia. And I suppose that they could be hired if need be. I suppose that could be arranged. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I might need a little bit of assistance first, but yes, I think that could be doable.
Of course.
The constable is a good and upstanding woman. She knows what is right to do. He nods to himself almost like he's trying to convince himself of that rather than convince you of that.
I'm going to lean over to Jaffa and just quietly say, remind me how this isn't a waste of our time.
I'll tell you when I know.
I can pay you for your help as well. I have a bit of a problem.
A bit. Which one?
Looks
Well-
like you've got a few.
You're
It's-
apparently a
it's-
friend to murderers.
Well, that's
Children
the thing is, I
are
don't
the,
think
are
he
the
did
law here.
it. I don't think he did it.
Well, it seems like it's a bit late for that. Yeah?
Well, the problem is that all of the murders happened. They thought they found the person who did it. They hung him, and then there was another one this morning. So clearly, something else is afoot. But no one wants to listen to me. And when I tried to meet with Jarmy at his cell before he was executed to give him last rites, the people in charge, not the militia, mind you, denied me access.
Would that be this council our lovely monarch has installed people?
Yes,
Of course it is.
Mr. Dory is the one in charge of them.
Noted.
If you would be willing to look into this, I can promise to pay you handsomely. And of course, I will put in word with Constable Jute to get you the militia that you're looking for. I have been banned from the premises and, well, denied any sort of permission to launch my own investigation into the Lantern Ghost killing. That's what they're blaming. The Lantern Ghost, that's what they're calling it.
Lantern Ghost.
It's been going on for 6 months.
Is there a
Strikes.
murder every night?
No, it's been spaced out, but every time it's the same way that the bodies are found, all chewed on, it looks like, and then left in public locations to be discovered at dawn.
Sounds like a beast,
What-
not a man.
What
I
kind
agree.
of teeth marks?
Almost shark-like in appearance. But they found Jarmy over one of the victims' bodies one day holding a dagger, and therefore he must have done it. Even though
Even though it didn't make
half of us
sense.
carry daggers for protection in this town. I offered to cast Speak with Dead to find out the truth, but I was told by the councilman's men that the case was closed, and they threatened to incarcerate me if, in the hope never if I didn't leave the matter alone.
Is the body ever is there ever a time when there aren't people around it?
Unfortunately, no. The new body was shipped off this morning to be cremated
What
at the
about
mortuary.
Jeremy?
He was taken as well. But I know something is wrong. There's got to be something else at work here. I would be willing to pay you 500 platinum to get to the bottom of it.
I don't think we need the money as much as you do.
That's not...
Understand. She turns towards Crackers. Understand who I am when I say that. We are very well off. We've been very successful.
She has a point. Not saying free, just, maybe not all of that.
That's a wealth.
Maybe do you have any people like yourself who could help with healing, maybe, or turning undead that could help us later? That might be of more use to us than just money.
Well, I mean, I would be happy to help with turning undead. I've got, I think Constable Jute knows some people as well. I'm sure there's several healers in the militia that are very adept. I've got a wealth of healing potions as well that I would be more than happy to donate to the cause.
I think that might be a better trade.
Agreed.
Are you sure? I mean, I don't. I know adventurers and are costly, but I don't mind if it means even clearing the name of an innocent man after his death. Wrongs should be righted.
It's
and
all
stopping
right.
it from happening again.
We might be dealing with some undead in the not too distant future, so having a few people in our pockets that can help with that is a big boon for us, actually.
Aye.
Excellent. So there would be a few places where I would recommend starting to look for some information. If you're still interested in helping. That would be with Constable Jute and going to Hopenair, the asylum, and speaking to Emil Trantor, the headmistress there. That is where Jarmi was kept before his execution.
All right. We've hidden, as it were.
Are either of them on the council?
Oh, no. Neither of them are on the council. The council is all the Monarch's people. Jute and Trantor have been here on the island since well before the Monarch came.
Okay.
Well, yeah. All right. So we're looking into this then.
Apparently.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course.
I really do appreciate it. And then, of course, any help that I can give afterwards or any healing potions or assistance with actually turning undead or finding more folk who can be of assistance, I am absolutely your man.
Can use all the help we can get, I think.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so could you point us in the direction of Constable Jute and Headmistress Trantor then?
Well, Headmistress Trantor will be at the Hopenair Asylum, which is just at the end of the Landlicker Road, and Constable Jute should be in her office in about, I would say probably an hour's time, usually. He looks up at the clock on the mantle that is half taken apart and yet still ticking. He's clearly been doing something with it. So yeah, within the hour, I would say that she's back in her office. Yeah. And of course, I'll be here if you need anything.
Be well, Father.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Gellin just, those are both correct spellings. Sorry, I just saw that. Gellin just puts a hand on Master Repham's shoulder. Be well, friend. We'll be back. Oh, Gellin, Longflint is around. If you need some extra information, but as usual, her consulting fee does not come cheap. Gellin just kind of laughs. If she wasn't still around, I'd be surprised. And when has her information ever come cheap? But it is the best. And he stands up and heads to the door with you. Shall we?
Aye.
And he opens the door and lets you guys head on out.
I give us 1 day. 1 day, and then we can move on. See if we can figure this out.
Aye. I'm nowhere in a hurry. It's just a mess. You know, just once it'd be nice if we went somewhere and things worked out.
Yes.
But at this
that's
point,
true.
I think I just suspect something terrible is around the corner.
I think it sounds like the Beach Bug Islands that you went to were the most idyllic
Oh, aye.
spot that you
That
found.
was,
We did have to drown to
that
get
was
there.
definitely.
Well, there's
Aye,
that.
getting there was a bit of a.
You almost drowned. You didn't actually drown. I dragged y'all to
Thanks
the
to
island.
you.
We were fine.
Too close. Any
Boring.
amount of drowning is too much.
And we still never
True.
figured out what happened to
I
that
hated it.
blasted chest.
This is
Yeah.
true.
5,000 platinum.
I
500
know.
platinum, 5,000
I
gold,
know. I know.
50,000 silver,
It hurts.
500,000
It does.
copper.
But look at this place.
We all heard the number, but I have to agree. It's not. I mean, we could take some. We are doing a job for him, but taking
Right.
all of it's
Oh,
a bit
aye.
much.
I don't think that we should do it for free. I'm not suggesting that. It just this place. When you saw how he's feeding the poor here. You see what a mess this place is.
You're
This isn't
looking at the
commerce.
future of Saltmarsh. If we don't
I
do
hate that you're
something.
probably right.
Yes. I've got like theories and I don't like any of them. And I am also aware that I may have more of a distrust of the monarch than most other people. But don't you think it's
Not than me.
strange? Yeah. Don't you think it's strange that this? I don't actually know if it happened before the monarch came, but the monarch comes and then suddenly there's this strange ghost committing murders. It wasn't happening before.
And the pollutants in the waters can't be blamed on any pirates before that. That was the direct result of the monarch. This council
Maybe
doesn't
the
seem to be any help to it.
experiments. Maybe experiments made some sort of horrible beast thing, and they're trying to cover it
Perfect.
up.
Not to mention the commerce here. How much do you want to bet
That's
every day's tax
Commerce.
day?
Right.
What commerce? Look at it.
Yeah.
Well, what they had before. They're making a lot of money, and it's not money that the monarch has.
Well, let's see if we can't get some information, shall we?
Yeah.
And Gellin pulls out a piece of chalk and walks over to a group of barrels and starts drawing something on it. Just take a moment.
Contacting your friend.
Is it Thieves' Cant? Because I know that.
It is not Thieves' Cant,
Okay.
but Jaffer. It's Gnomish.
Okay. I know that language.
And it's just simply meeting.
Good to know.
Oh, you'll like her.
You're very worldly, Gellin. You know Infernal, you know Gnomish? What other languages do you know? And why?
Elvish. For one. Celestial. And Dwarvish.
Know an interesting group of people as well.
You don't get to be as old as I am without at least a few friends up your sleeve. He says, maybe looking all of 40-something.
I'm nearly twice your older.
Gwyn just laughs.
Yeah, you may be twice as elder, but yeah, no, you're still better looking. And a small female gnome pops up from behind the barrels with a shock of electric blue hair, all black clothing, and just kind of leaning over. All right, Gellin, I got your message. Usual fee, but what you got? Is it pearls this time? Because if it's pearls, I mean, last time the pearls were perfect. I can do pearls again. I think. Well, yeah, because the alchemist folk will use them for shit. So yeah, you got pearls? I can take it. Oh, you don't normally work with a crew this big. And you normally don't come here yourself. What's going on?
Pleasure to meet you.
Hello.
Hi. And Gellin just kind of goes, this is their show. I'm just merely the mediator here of arranging meetings. But hi, Groton. It's good to see you. This is Groton Longflint.
A pleasure.
Oh, it is.
Hi. Okay, does that mean they're paying my consulting fee, or are you paying it? Sighs and just hands her a little bag. I'll pay it. Thank you. All right, what do you want to know?
How do you get your hair that color?
Really? You're gonna lead with that.
How'd you get your feathers
I
that
like
color?
it.
So do
Good
I.
breeding.
It grows that way. But I may or may not help it along with a little bit of stuff from a special alchemist. If you really want to turn your feathers this color blue, I could probably get you some.
I think I'm good, but thank
Nice.
you.
Huh.
Coral, it could be a vast improvement for you if you want to change up color.
Oh shit! Bird shade.
Ugh.
I'll keep
Okay,
that
I
in
like him.
mind.
I missed what you said. I'm so sorry.
I just said I'll keep that in mind. But
No,
she's
no.
definitely glaring at Crackers.
The only one with hair that isn't way too bright. I don't. Lost my
I
train of
would say
thought.
that Gellin's hair isn't very bright, but Gellin just puts a finger up like, don't you fucking dare. All right.
These murders that are happening, is there any correlation between them? When will the next murder potentially happen, do you think? Is there any pattern that can be followed?
Yes. I've noticed a lot of, it seems odd, but I noticed a lot of activity near this warehouse, usually about a night or two before they happen. Like last night, there was a bunch of weird stuff going on. That's actually where I took your pearls last time, Gellin. I was told that there was another cache of them there, so that's why I went to go check it out. Did not find pearls. No. That would have been an improvement. Anyway, so I did some research to see if the place was even worth checking out. And there's just too many people going on. It's just constantly day and night, in and out, in and out, in and out, which is weird because it's not like we're doing a boom and trade business here or anything. So why so many people? Why constant activity? And it seems like there's people that are watching the place that aren't entirely human, or gnomish, or tiefling, or parrot even. They look to be part fish.
Like part
I'm
shark,
guessing.
maybe. Like part shark, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Sahuagin, perhaps?
No, not Sahuagin. Something else. Something weird. Like, they got like weird claw pincher things. Yeah, it's this strange, like a lobster, but with tentacles coming out of its mouth.
So lobster people.
Yeah, lobster people.
That is weird.
But with teeth?
I assume on the inside.
Have you tried chasing them away with some drawn butter?
No, too many people for me, and they're real big. I don't know that they would be afraid of that. Although, if you catch one and you try it, let me know. I mean, there's got to be a lot of meat in those giant lobster hands. Anyway, because you're working with Gellin, I'll also give you a little extra hint of something. But it will not come free. Whatever you find in there, 15% for me, if you're going in. I have it on good authority that there is some good shit in there.
Seems fair.
15% of nothing is still nothing, so yeah, that's fine.
Valid.
If you find something. Normally I charge 30, but you're with Gellin, and I like you. He's funny. She points over at Crackers.
He is that.
So, some sort of golem was delivered there the other day to the warehouse. Looked like a bunch of different sea creatures all mixed up together.
A golem made of sea creatures.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bunch of different sea creature parts. And the inside of it is hotter than the devil. It is. Rumors are having that this warehouse is getting flooded with water and then heated up. It's like, gross hot. Supposedly it belongs to a Mr. Dory, this warehouse. So I don't know if he's trying to like turn the inside of his warehouse into like a hot tub spa or something. But Dory's a weird one. He's very rarely seen in public. Got some sort of weird skin condition, he says. So he doesn't come out much. But it's always like hot around him, and he gets this perfume in the merchant's quarter that he always wears, so you could always like smell him coming. It's like this kind of almost sickly sweet kind of smell. Like the dude must be bathing in it. It's ridiculous. No one needs to smell like flowers all the time, right?
Gotta be
Especially
covering
not
something
stewed
up.
flowers.
Gwilyn groaned at the name.
Sorry, I didn't hear all of that.
You groaned at the name,
Is this
Mr. Dory.
person known to you? You groaned at the name.
No, just what we've heard
Thank
recently.
ye for the doubloons.
Hello,
That
Mike.
was one of the council that they mentioned.
See?
Aye, I see it. That was why I groaned. It's political.
Oh, but what isn't political these days?
Precious little, I'm afraid.
Anyway, I should be going before, they don't, before Constable Jute makes her way around, but, good luck.
Understood.
And remember, 15% of whatever you find. Gillen will know how to get a hold of me.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Likewise. Oh, hey, Gillen, are you coming to the pit tonight? I mean, we could use it. And he just holds up a finger like, you shut your no mouth right now. We don't
The
talk
pit?
about pit. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
I'll talk to you later. But, yeah. All right. It's touchy today.
I will
Happy
be
hunting.
asking about that later.
And she just kind of gives a jaunty wink and disappears.
So now we've got more information on the council member and the warehouse to add to our list.
Yeah.
Where to first?
Well, we should probably do some recon and find out information about what's going on around the warehouse. I doubt we're going to be able to go in, but we might be able to at least get an idea of the outside.
Well, here's the question. Do we want to talk to this Constable Duke before we go poking around so that they know that we're looking into this and potentially have the law on our side to an extent? Or do we want to not talk to them until afterwards so that we have plausible deniability that we didn't, know that we shouldn't be poking around certain places and don't have someone who knows that we're there?
Reverend didn't seem too sold on the idea that you'll always do the right thing. So we might, if we go to the constable, we might be told no, and then definitely be doing something bad. If we don't ask, then we didn't know.
We can ask
Exactly.
for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yes.
Exactly. And then she won't be following us around trying to see what we found out. So warehouse first?
There's also the asylum as well, wherever this.
That too.
Where do you want to start?
There's too many options. Well, since the one thing that we've got that's not necessarily as much related to everything else so far is the asylum, maybe we should start there and see what we can find out that's different than what we already know.
I second that.
Alright. Let's go then. We've got a day.
Alright. So you guys make your way up to Lamplicker's Way, which is in the High Quarter. And you get there and the building looks to be a kind of a nondescript large building with barred windows. There's a faded sign on the front door that has the words "Welcome Home" hanging above the main entrance. There's a little bell that you can ring. As you ring the bell, a older woman comes to the door. She's got kind of ashen gray skin. She looks tired, overworked for sure, but still has a smile on her face when she comes to the door. Hi, can I help you?
Hello. Gwilyn Hayes. What's your name?
I am Emile Trantor.
Perfect. The
How
one who
can
was
I
next
help you,
to
Miss
you.
Hayes? Are you here for
We-
a visit of one of our patients?
We actually had some questions about a patient.
Oh, which one? I can do my best. We have quite a few. There's 400 people here. You might need to be very specific.
Goodness.
400?
Yes.
Is everyone on the island in there?
Oh no, the island is I think some 10,000 strong.
Goodness.
But what can I do for you? I'm so sorry. Here, please come in. And she beckons you
course.
into kind of a little foyer. What can I do for you? I am sorry I don't have much time, but I can give you what I've got.
We were sent by someone who said you might be able to give us more information on the lad who passed away this morning, Jarmy.
Oh, Jarmy, yes. Such a quiet lad. He's so strange. He was absolutely just... I've never seen anyone so confident in their innocence before. I mean, usually those who are found to be capable of deeds the way he was are have an air of some sort of untruth about them, but he never wavered in that. I thought he was... obviously I have no reason to doubt the evidence. He was so remorseful and seemed so... Everything about him was so far more believable than any other troubled person I have ever worked with before. It was very strange. He was constantly drawing and writing. I can
Do you still
all
have
over
any of
the...
those?
Oh, yes, it was all over the walls of his room. I can take you if you want.
If you would, please.
Please, yeah.
Right. This way. You guys begin to walk through the asylum. You can hear constant noise from other people. It seems to be laughter and on occasion crying. But, as you walk, she said, it's strange. Usually folks have visitors, but I was the only person who was ever permitted to see Jarmy. Not even his sister was allowed to see him beforehand. The only other person who came was a Mr. Dory, which I thought was very strange that he would come. Anyway.
That is strange.
She eventually stops before a locked door and says, well, this is, it's a little bit dank past here, so just try and keep up. We'll move quickly. Unfortunately, this is no longer part of the medical facility. This is now into the prison entrance. So,
Of course.
please hurry. So she unlocks the door and reveals a long corridor with iron doors lining both walls. And she kind of hurries quickly in silence all the way to the end of the far hall, where she takes you into an open cell door. And as you walk in, the walls are just covered in sketches, all overlapping each other with confusing waves and pattern spirals. Here, feel free to peruse. I will be here to let you out to escort you out when you're ready. And she exits the room and just stands off to one side. Just give a shout if you need anything. If you guys would like to investigate, please go ahead and make investigation checks. Anyone who has a proficiency with nature when you make your investigation check, go ahead and add your proficiency bonus in a second time.
$16.
10.
A 28.
All right.
Sorry, I rolled a 20 unexpectedly.
All right.
And it's
So what you see in this mass of mad drawings is a tentacled creature being shown devouring a coastal city whose skyline matches that of the island that you are on. You see a creature on another drawing shown with all of your scores. I assume that you share all of this information, although that's why I'm just going to read it out so you don't. Okay. You see a creature trapped in a deep chasm or some sort of underwater pit. Its tentacles are wrapped around humanoids who are being dragged down into the dark. You see another one with another tentacled creature that appears to have a collar on it, and it's attached to a chain, with the chain being held by another creature that resembles some sort of strange multi-tailed fish creature. And then all over everything else, you see this weird, strange pattern of just swirls. And it looks like some sort of squid or octopus all over it. It's really strange.
Well, some of these kind of look like your new child, Grillin.
Hey, they do, but not in a good way. They're rather larger and less friendly looking.
Crackers.
Could be artists, but
Crackers, because of your score, you recognize the multi-tailed fish creature as an aboleth.
Oh dear. Well,
doesn't sound good.
what do I know about aboleths, Dungeon Master?
I would like you to make me an Arcana check, and I will tell you what you know about the aboleths. Although I will take into account what you rolled for your investigation check.
15.
Alrighty. You know that aboleths spend most of their existence underwater. They are a strange sort of aberration, usually evil in nature. You also know that they typically make the rocky depths of the ocean their home, and they surface occasionally to hold court with visitors to them or deranged worshippers of some sort.
Well, you see this three-tailed fish creature here depicted. That is
Artemis.
aboleth. It is not a fish per se. It's more of a aberration, not of this plane of existence.
Gross.
Yes, very much so. Highly intelligent, highly dangerous. It can attract a following of deranged madmen to serve it.
Great! That sounds great.
Well then.
So if we are dealing with one of those, we're going to have a bit of trouble.
Yes.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
Do you remember anything about what they're susceptible to?
With a 15, unfortunately not.
Not really. They are aquatic creatures, but they can come on land for an extended period. I don't know much in terms of weaknesses.
Well, this is grim. You know what we're going to be walking into potentially. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
At least it's not coming as a surprise.
Yeah.
That'd be awful if we went in there and then found this.
This is awful. I understand if we choose not to stay. The choice is yours.
So maybe the people going in and out are followers of this creature?
It's entirely possible.
I don't want
I
to fight a
wonder-
cult today.
I wonder if some of the people
What if
going
they-
in and out of the warehouse are these, and she points at the lobster-looking people.
Some sort of were creature. Maybe if
know.
they don't look like that all the time. I mean, something's going on. Something's going on with this Dory fellow. If he's wearing perfume, he's covering up something. Got a strange skin condition. Sounds to me like he turns into something.
I'd be interested to see what his skin condition looks like.
What interests me is the fact that Dory was appointed to this council position by the Sovereign.
Yes.
I'm wondering if the Sovereign has any knowledge of this relationship to this Aboleth.
I'm wondering
Oh.
if this monarch has any idea of a few things going on.
Even if they did, they wouldn't admit it.
Obviously.
Even though this place is like desolate, it does seem like a pretty large port town, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a cursed gift given to this Dory by the monarch.
I doubt that.
But this is bigger than Saltmarsh. They've got more people, and this happened. I'm all for walking
Probably
away.
why it happened here first.
Right. I'm all for walking away and not fighting the cult today, but from the looks of things, we'll just have to fight one later. It might be better to know what we're going up against. And have some people on our side.
Well, we don't know what the cult would be planning either. That's one concern, because this isn't that far from Saltmarsh. And it's an island of
Exactly.
10,000 people.
Do we really want to let this fester that close to home?
I really don't. I mean, I don't want to fight a bunch of cultists either. I don't
Right. I
don't want
see
to
both
deal with it,
sides.
but do we deal with a few now and try to take it out before it's a bigger problem? Or do we deal with 10,000 of them when they come for Saltmarsh?
I'd rather cut it off now and have people to
Yeah.
help us. I get it, Jafar, I do. I'd love to run out of here and not deal with that. Believe me.
I don't have family in Saltmarsh, so I don't really have ties to it other than my shop, and that wasn't really doing too great. But for your family's sake, I think we should take care of this now.
Appreciate
And what
that.
about Motley, Jaffer?
Hey,
What about Motley?
Truth be told, Motley could probably take care of herself. And Gellin gets almost a weird kind of half smirk on his face when he says that.
I mean, to be fair, my family's mostly on their ship all the time. But still, if we're going up against an island of other things, do we want this one in between us and our troops? Because that's what it'll be at that point. We're going into some kind of war. And whether we're part of it or not, we're going to be trapped in the middle. Tactically speaking, this is too close to where the majority of our help is.
All right, so the question is then, do we wait for night or do we go today? It might not be a bad idea to walk past it at least this morning and get a view of
Why?
it during the light.
Yes, I
But-
think we should take a look and perhaps have a brief chat with Councillor Dory himself.
Yes.
It's an option. In which case, what are we going to say? Do
could
we
say
lead
that
with-
we're from Saltmarsh, come to see about hiring some of their militia?
Just going with that, and we know nothing about what's going on here.
Yes, yes. We have a local threat with some lizard folk who are acting up, looking for extra arms to help defend the town.
Good plan. I'd rather not tell anyone on the council about the other business.
Agreed. All right, so let's go for a stroll then, shall we?
Right. So you guys leave the Hope Nair Asylum and head out toward the counselor's chambers. They're pointed out to you. It is a strong white bricked building, not too far from where you are. And as you head inside, you see these militia members kind of patrolling this upper district. It looks like they don't go down near the docks anywhere, but you do see some 200 guards doing training drills just behind the council chambers. It looks like there are 10 individual officers that has broken out these guards into groups of 20s and are leading them through training drills.
Well, there's our potential militia.
They seem very capable. But why they're up here and not patrolling the streets is strange.
We could ask, but I don't expect we'll be told. Unless you want to give it a try.
You know, there's something very suspicious about a very well trained and actively training militia less than a day's sail away from Saltmarsh.
Hey, there is.
Especially when there's a murderer about that they should be looking for.
Honestly.
Well, they all think they found him.
Do you guys enter the council chamber, or are you looking around more?
I think we
think
should
it-
head in.
Yeah, enter the council chamber.
All right. So inside there are a few offices, some kind of middle-class folk running around, carrying messages, keeping business running. The upper part of the island seems to not be faring quite as poorly as the dock area itself. It seems that the merchant quarter and the High Walk area, while still a little bit run down, are not suffering from the pollution that the alchemist quarters and the lower docks are. You see a large council room with doors open in front of you and 3 individuals sitting around a table with an empty chair on one end of it. And they just seem to be chatting among themselves at the moment. A few moments later, a halfling kind of wanders up to you, a little clipboard in her hand. Good morning. How can I help you? Do you have
Good
an appointment to see the
morning.
council?
No, we've only just arrived. We are an envoy from Saltmarsh, here to speak with Councillor Dory.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Mr. Dory is out ill today. He is not here for our normal council meeting. However, the other council members would be happy to greet with you if you are interested in speaking with them. Otherwise, you might be able to find Mr. Dory at his home in the warehouse district.
Thank you.
Couldn't hurt to ask the council. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, of course.
you
If they have a free moment.
Oh, of course. Let me see if they have a moment. I'll be right back. Your names that I can announce to them.
Captain Jefferzanzib.
Captain Gwilyn Hayes.
All right.
My name is Crackers, and this is Councilmember Gellin Firebrand.
Thank you very much. And you do? She looks at Coral and Fortune.
You can call me Coral.
I'm Fortune.
Okay, excellent. I will see if they have a moment, and I will be back with you in just one moment if you do not mind waiting right here. Thank you so much. And she scurries off into the council room. It's a good idea, dropping the fact that I'm a council member in Saltmarsh as well.
Yes, I
Can
thought so.
we? Sorry. Can we see the people at the table still? The council.
Yes, you
from
can.
where we are.
You can. And when the little halfling woman hurries in, they all kind of stop whatever they're talking about and lean forward intently. You
I
see.
Just
Go ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to see, like, did they look like they were discussing something in a kind of friendly atmosphere, or did they look like it was a tense conversation or anything?
It did not seem to be a tense conversation, no.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of.
You do see a male elf sitting there looking a little bored, maybe. A twitchy looking female human, maybe? Something about her facial features suggests maybe not entirely human, but it's hard to put your finger on. And then another human female dressed in long wizarding robes. And a few moments later, the halfling comes out. Yes, they'd be happy to treat with you. Please come in. And she ushers you inside. And in the male elf stands and says, "Welcome. I am Councillor Rashlin. It's nice to meet you, council member, captains. Fortune, Coral, and Crackers, was it? Yes."
Yes, thank you, Councillor, for meeting with us this morning. It is most gracious of you to make time. We have just sailed from Saltmarsh. We're in a bit of a problematic situation. There's been some unrest in our town, and unfortunately we are not very well equipped in terms of a local militia, but we heard that you have one that is most excellently trained.
We do indeed. Our militia is our pride. Please sit. And there are a bevy of chairs, kind of in a half circle around in front of the council chambers. This is Councilwoman Slaris and Councilwoman Thornwell. We have heard, of course, of Saltmarsh, although we have not had occasion to go there. How are the newly discovered mines going? We've heard that you struck silver.
Yes, yes, yes. Quite a boon for the local economy.
I can imagine. You must be so pleased.
Ever so.
Is it bandits then that you're having problems with your newfound wealth?
Well, not so much bandits, a little bit of piracy, some uh, denizens of the local swamps that are causing issue, uh, some other nefarious types who have taken an interest now that the mines have opened up.
I see. And the council members that, Mr. Firebrand, I have heard that there are several council members from the town originally, as well as council members sent by the monarch, and you are not able to quell these insurgents. Gellin kind of speaks through almost gritted teeth. No, unfortunately, we have not been able to. Saltmarsh is not quite as populated as this island. Our citizens are fishermen, not trained fighters. We would be hard pressed to put up any sort of fight.
We do hope you remember that up until the mine striking silver, Saltmarsh has been of relatively small importance to the kingdom. The sovereign has not saw fit to provide us with the manpower or attention that your community has garnered.
I see. And Councilwoman Sliris, the woman who's got the slightly more pointed features, kind of leaned forwards. And as she speaks, you notice her teeth are her two front teeth are slightly elongated, and her nose twitches ever so slightly as she speaks. She seems very jittery, and her eyes are almost beady and bright black. And I'm sure that you have sent word to the monarch of your need for a militia. I can't imagine that he would leave such a booming prosperity such as the mine unguarded. You have sent word, haven't you? Gellin pops up.
I look to Gellin.
We have definitely written to the monarch about the new find of silver and our concerns, yes. Though the capital is several weeks away, it is quite a journey, and we are in a bit more of an immediate threat. I see. Well, I will confer with my other council members here, and are you staying here on the island, or should we send word to Saltmarsh when a decision is made?
You can find us on our ship, the Lady of the Marsh. It's currently docked in your harbor.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Most gracious.
Councilwoman Thornwell stands up for a moment. I'll escort you out. Thank you so much for coming. Excuse me, council members. And she walks with you all towards the front of the door. As soon as she leaves the council chambers, she kind of, in a low voice, "May I speak with you all privately in about 10 minutes' time?"
Where?
There is a inn at the end of the street. We could get a pint there. It's small, but it's discreet.
We shall await you there.
Thank you. And she nods to you all, and you all leave, and she shuts the council doors behind her.
Anyone fancy a pint?
Always.
Sounds fantastic.
It does.
Yes.
Which, what is the name of the tavern she pointed out? Gellin has his eyes closed and the bridge of his nose just kind of pinched between his fingers. Crackers, what is the name of this inn?
It is the Sloppy Sandbar.
Of course it is. That's what I was afraid of.
Fortunately,
What's
puts
wrong?
a hand on his back and like rubs his shoulders, just like it's okay.
I'm
Any reason besides
Aw.
the name?
I may have a reputation there. It'll be fine. They won't recognize me. It's been years. It's been
Really?
years.
For-
Yeah, it's
for
been years.
what?
So you're saying we should definitely not say your name loudly?
I would appreciate that, yes.
But what exactly would happen if we did?
It depends on whether my name is still on their blackballed list or not. We can find out. Quietly.
I do hope we get to hear more about that story later.
And you make your way into the Sloppy Sandbar. As you enter in, you're not entirely sure what the councilwoman meant by quiet or discreet, as there is a large pit fighting ring, like a boxing ring, elevated up on the in the middle of the bar. There's currently nothing going on, so maybe that's why she chose it for right now. But there is a large, burly half-orc woman polishing glasses behind the bar, and she looks up as you come in, immediately sees Gellin, and runs over and just gives him the biggest bear hug you have ever seen. Gelly, what are you doing? I haven't seen you in years. Are you here? Are you coming to tonight? Are we putting your name back? He's like, no, everything's no. We're just having a pint, and it's hi. How are you? It's good to see you, Rosa. These are my
Pleasure to meet you,
friends.
Rosa.
It's nice to meet you.
We'd
We'd
love
love
to
to
hear
hear
more
stories.
About this.
Don't tell me. And I look to the fighting ring. That's the pit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pit.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's great. This is
Don't you worry, your secret's totally safe with us.
I didn't
Yep.
clock you for a
We won't take
scrapper.
advantage of this at all.
I
No, of
have
course not.
gotten into a few scraps in my day, but that was quite some time ago. What are you talking about? That was like 2 years ago. Rosa, not helping. Not helping.
Helping.
Thank you, Rosa.
Definitely helping.
Definitely
Thank you.
helping.
In fact, as you look around, there's a plaque on the wall, and you can see listed the year and then top fighter. And 3 of the last 5 years have Gellin's name in that spot.
How often do you have to fight to get your name on a plaque? That's never happened to me.
They have a
I find
yearly
it weird.
competition that I occasionally would come over and participate in.
Huh.
Sounds like fun.
So, you just sort of know about this island then, Gellin.
Yeah, sort of know about this island. It's been a
I'm
while,
starting to
like I
see.
said.
Starting to see why Mum never told me more about it.
It's not like your mom hasn't been here a few times either.
Oh, I'm sure she has.
Rosa, we're going to be meeting with a discreet individual. Do you have just the room? And Rosa nods. Yep, I'll send up your usual. What do you find folks want? It's on the house if you're with Gelly.
Your most expensive drink.
Perfect. Wouldn't expect anything less.
Just a mead's fine for me.
If you got any really nice meads, though.
That's true.
I have passion fruit mead, I have a pineapple mead, and I also have a black cherry mead.
I'll take the pineapple one, please.
I think I'll go with passion fruit.
Round this out with black cherry then.
Excellent.
Sounds
and
good.
for you, friend, she looks over at crackers.
Do you have any coconut water?
I do indeed.
That would be splendid. Thank you.
Of course. Gelly, you know the way to the private room, and I'll send up your guest shortly. Thank you, Rosa. And he goes around a back corner, leans on a wall, and kind of knocks 3 times on a board, and a trapdoor pops open underneath, and he starts climbing down. His pipe.
I like this place. It's vast
I
and
like
different
this
from the rest of the
place
islands.
too.
You know, Gillen, the more we've spent time with you lately, I think I like you more and more. This is
I hope
definitely,
that goes for all of you.
this is definitely more interesting than just those fancy parties you threw at your house.
How do you think I got the money for the fancy parties?
Oh.
Honest
Lot to be
trade, I
had in
thought.
prize fighting.
So you guys head down, and the hidden room is actually really nicely furnished. There's a solid oak table with plush chairs surrounding it. There is a nice fire blazing in the hearth, and it is just very comfortable. Oh no, gosh, we had a little hiccup, and hopefully, let's see, we are all in different spots, but that's okay. So we're gonna play musical chairs with the players for a moment. We are not going to trade off DM duties for today, this time, but we'll have our production man behind the scenes who does so much wonderful wonderful work for us, is turn us around, and as things move around, oh gosh, he's already got it. Well, mostly back. Fortune and Gwilyn just need to switch, and then I think you're good to
Always.
go. It's always Fortune and Gwilyn.
Every time.
The two of you, and you were. But shortly, you are joined by the councilwoman, who comes in carrying a tray of drinks. I suppose I have been made delivery person here. Thank you for meeting me on such short notice.
But of
She comes-
course.
She comes in and sits down. We weren't high on your list, I hear, of people you wanted to speak to. I heard you were looking for a particular council person?
Yes, Councillor Dory's name had come up to us a few times.
Yes. So, what is it that you know about Councillor Dory?
Well, we've heard a few things. I mean, obviously he's an upstanding councilman, but it's sad to say he's got some health issues apparently.
Indeed. How much do you know about the current climate here on the island?
We've got a few pieces.
Enough for curiosity.
I have been suspecting Mr. Dory of some foul play recently. I think that he might be involved in some dirty work. I personally can't do anything as a member of the council, and I would hate to jeopardize my standing there.
Naturally.
You look like strong, capable people. If one
We
were
get
to
that a lot.
follow facts, wherever they lead, even if that was into halls of power to remove a problem, I would be incredibly gracious.
Does it seem that she's being forthright?
In what sense? That she would actually be gracious for someone to off
Yes, or
Dory?
is this some manner of setup?
Oh, she seems pretty on much like she's being very transparent. That she wants him gone but can't do anything about it, and she's more than willing to hire someone to take care of her issue.
Well, it seems we may have mutual interests in that case. Is there anything you could tell us about the operation he is running out of that warehouse?
I don't know much about it, unfortunately. I do know that it is guarded at night by some sort of guard dogs, but aside from that, I don't know anything. I wish I did. He very rarely comes to council meetings anymore. And when he does, he's always got a hood up and he leaves within an hour. He reeks of this horrid perfume.
Do you ever see his face?
Never. He always has it covered. Some sort of skin condition, he says. Anyway, if you would be willing to dispose of this issue for me, I could see potentially a reward of 700 platinum, perhaps.
That seems quite fair.
And of course, access to a militia.
Sounds lovely.
Even fairer.
Most generous.
Of course, if Gelly is here, she turns her attention to Gellin, and you're too busy tonight, I do understand if you need an extra day. And Gellin just kind of dead eyes her and goes, no, thank you. Pity. When she lays a hand on his arm, it would have been marvelous to watch you fight one last time. Just kind of stiffens. Thank you, Thornwell. Anyway, if you find out what you need to know, you can find me up in the High District. It's the area that I oversee. His posture crackers. His posture stiffens. Nothing else.
Just clarifying.
No worries. And she leaves with a little swish of her hair.
Well,
You seem awfully popular around here.
I thought being gone for a couple of years would have squashed any notoriety that I may have gained. I see that I was incorrect.
Clearly.
Well, I got to say, we're going to be teasing you more about it later, but for now, I think it's very interesting that we could get a lot of money here for basically doing the same job.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm all right with it.
that part sounds rather nice. And I've no problem with taking her money.
No.
For her, I believe that's a drop in the bucket, so...
Exactly.
All right, so warehouse then.
Sounds good.
Take a look around the district.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
we'll take a look at Dory's home as well.
I think it sounds like it's one and the same. The warehouse and the house. I think he might be living there. Maybe
so
I'm
it's a
incorrect.
warehouse house.
Yes, it's a warehouse house.
Given what we're hearing about, it could be a warehouse. I mean, to be frank,
Oh my goodness.
What does one wear to a warehouse house?
Houseware?
Ah, yes, indeed.
Of course. Of course. Housewares.
perfect.
Right. Shall we?
Please.
Tosses back the last of his whiskey.
All right.
And goes over to a wall, sets his shot glass down on the counter there, and as he does so, a panel swings open, leading up to some stairs out onto the street. This way we don't have to go back through the bar.
Good thinking.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'm definitely coming back here one day.
And it doesn't look like it's been taken over by
I
whatever is going on. It's quite lovely.
It reminds me of home.
Right. Well, to the warehouse district, shall we?
Lead on.
You make your way to the edge of the alchemist quarters, and at the edge of a large kind of swath of mud that you've learned that the locals call the Hemlock Pit. There is a large 3-story stone building that sits at the end. It's roofed in slate and dotted with iron barred windows. The walls and roof appear to be coated with some sort of bituminous black gruel, like an accumulation of pollution that belches up from the workshops nearby. Behind the warehouse is a large gray-green pit of mud, and a huge rickety crane protrudes from the far. Thank you very much. A huge rickety crane protrudes from the far wall of the warehouse, which its limbs all rusted and bent. Dangling from it is a dripping hulk of a ship that is hanging about 50 feet above the greasy mud. You don't hear any barking of dogs currently.
Do we see the guards that they talked about there being out front that have the lobster hands?
You don't see any of those, but you do see quite a few workers bustling with large 6-wheeled freight wagons. Thank you so much for the sub. You are indeed a treasure. So you can see these merchants coming in and out to the warehouse, and they seem to be staging some sort of shipments, but nothing seems out of the ordinary at the moment. What would you like to do?
Coral glances over at Fortune and Crackers. How hard is it for you two to pull that disappearing act of yours?
I can do it once.
It's quite easy for me.
It's just something I can just do. I don't know how to explain it, really.
Either that, or do we want to do something a little more obvious? The whole like, oh no, I lost my parrot. Can you help me find him? He flew into your building?
It's an option. I could also look like one of the guards for a short. As an option.
I can also make myself look like a guard.
You could get the guards to come help you look for the parrot, and we'd have an excuse to get in there.
Hmm.
It's an option.
You don't
I do
have
not
to
like
if you
that
don't
mud.
want to, Crackers. It was just a thought.
What are we doing?
You guys just all standing around, or are you walking and talking, trying to be inconspicuous?
Gwilyn's trying to be like sightseeing. Because she hasn't been here before.
All right.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, definitely walking and talking and like pointing at the giant ship, like, "Ooh, what's that?"
All right.
Not just staring at the warehouse, just kind of looking at everything. And checking to see if we're being followed.
Lost Parrot's a good ploy, I think.
I think either sending us in, pretending to be chasing after Crackers, or having Crackers or Fortune sneak in invisible might be our best options to get some more information. Do you two have a preference?
I don't mind scouting ahead.
I don't mind either.
All right. We could stay nearby, and if you run into trouble or someone sees you, if you reappear, we could start pulling the whole lost my parrot thing to try to get you out.
All right. So, Crackers, you're going on ahead. Fortune, are you sneaking in invisible as well, or?
I think it will be easier if I simply go alone.
Then Crackers has a message.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So, Crackers, you take off and you head into the main area of the warehouse.
I cast invisibility on myself first, and then
Oh,
take
sorry.
off, yes.
My apologies. As you get inside, you can see the interior of the warehouse is piled high with crates and boxes and packages of all types, mostly marked with a bunch of different personal symbols of various alchemists. And while a lot of them say fragile or handle with care, some also say things like flammable. You see a closed door that looks like there is some more space behind it off to the northwest. And you see a large mechanical lift standing along the south wall. And from there, 2 iron spiral staircases that rise in the north and southwest corners.
I shall fly up the staircases to the second floor.
Okay. You can see a business office up there and seeing a bunch of different filing cabinets, a working desk, and a large table. It also looks like it goes into a walkway out to where that crane is holding up that large ship. Looks like there's some missing boards on the walkway, and there's no railing, so you'd have to be very careful as it does go out of the building and then across that large mud pool.
Is there anyone in the business offices currently?
Yes, there is a tiefling woman who is bending over a stock book of some sort and is taking copious notes.
And do I see an office for Mr. Dory?
You do not.
I shall fly over and investigate this ship.
All right. As you fly across, making your way across the pool, you get into this decrepit-looking hull of the ship that's being suspended. And the only apparent access to the interior is near the bow, and a grate there is constantly belching smoke while water pours out through a wooden trough into the grate in the hull. You smell this kind of boiled flower-esque perfume kind of emanating from that grate.
I
And
shall
the-
take a peek down.
The air just feels so humid coming out of it. It's clouds of smoke are beginning to like escape through the grate, billowing. You can see a pair of roaring boilers near the bow bolted to the deck, and on either side is a large pool of steaming water.
And is there a way down below decks?
There is, although it does appear that a lot of it is watered or flooded for some reason.
Very well. I shall. If there's no one around, I shall swim down.
Okay. You swim down and you find a opening that has a dry spot, and you are able to get back out, and you can smell cinnamon, cloves, and ginger, and this floral scent permeating everything. There are strange plants hanging from the ceiling, featuring these thick, twisted vines that are tangled around enormous bulbs of flowers that are kind of this gross, sickly yellow color. And then as you enter the room proper, there's another large pool of steaming green water with a desk that has its legs sawed off and pulled up next to the pool. The desktop is cluttered with damp parchment and a platter of raw seafood and a mahogany box.
But no one else down here at the moment.
That you can see at the moment, no.
I shall hop up onto the desk and try to open the box.
Alright, it is locked.
I shall produce my thieves' tools and attempt to pick the lock.
Alrighty. Give me a sleight of hand check.
I rolled a natural 1.
Oh, excellent. You knock the box over with a large clattering noise, and something begins to emerge from the pool.
I flutter back from the desk and perch and go very, very quiet.
You see a man with drooping gray skin, his eyes kind of pointing in pooched eye sockets in different directions. It appears the skin on his face is beginning to kind of look like it's sloughing off. His hair is flattened back to his head in dark black with one white streak down the side. He does not appear well. As he gets closer, you can smell mildew and rot clinging to him. And as he opens his mouth to take a breath, you see several maggots fall out of his mouth and onto the floor. He looks around, bends over, picks up the box and puts it back on the desk. Seeing nothing, he opens it with a key, checks on its contents. You can see several giant fist-sized rubies inside, as well as a bunch of different writings. And then he makes a weird calling noise, and this flesh golem emerges from the water next to him. Monstrous lobsters and sharks and octopi with the head of a humanoid female emerges from the water. He speaks to it in some guttural, awful language. And then they both submerge themselves back in the water.
Does he leave the box or take it with him?
He leaves it. You get the idea that the contents of the box would not survive in the water.
Is the box of a small enough size that I could slip it into the pouch that Jaffa enchanted that we all share?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Then I will attempt to very quietly do so.
Please give me a stealth check while you do that.
Ooh, that's a much better roll. That's a total of 30.
All right. You get that in the pouch with no issues, no sound at all.
And then the grate in the ceiling that the smoke is rising up through, is it large enough for me to fly through, or the gap?
Yes, you could sneak through that.
I shall fly up and out and return to my companions and perch, still invisible, on Fortune's.
You jump and like pat where Crackers is.
Yes, hello. There's something rather interesting in that shared pouch you enchanted, Jaffas. I found it aboard that strange ship, along with what I believe is Mr. Dory. Though he's in a very poor state, he looks almost decomposing. And that strange fish person golem is with him.
Oh, great. This gets better and better. I was really hoping it wouldn't have anything to do with the ship and the nasty looking mud.
Jeffrey turns away from the building, or wherever they are, and looks at this box.
Hold on. Let me see if I can provide a distraction.
Well, I assume at this point we're probably walking, like continuing to walk away.
Walking away, maybe loudly pointing at a different building and asking about it. Like, what do you think that is? Look at, I mean, the architecture, it looks like it was really nice before, but what is that they've done?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like someone redecorated with ivy and then decided they didn't like it, so poured acid on it and destroyed part of the building.
Pretty much.
That is a way to take care of it. Not a good way, but a way to take care of it.
I mean, the ivy's
And
gone.
quick, yes.
That's true. It is an island full of alchemists. Maybe they screwed up this batch and made it too strong.
How much did you put in before you stop thinking, that might be a bit much? They have a few pints first.
That
It's-
is someone diluting by adding water to the other thing, not the other thing to water. It really should have been the other one.
Agreed. I mean, they are alchemists too. They could have made themselves something a bit stronger than need.
All right, Jeffrey, go ahead and give me a check to unlock this box.
That is a 14.
All right, it pops open. Inside, you find 6 rubies worth 500 gold each. Inside, you also find a book with a strange design on the front of it. Looks like a 8-legged creature of some sort. And several notes sticking out of it.
The eight-legged creature, is it tentacled or different?
Looks more arachnid, perhaps.
Oh.
You know, I've never had a problem with spiders before, but I'm starting to fucking hate them.
I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
I mean, as a rock gnome, I've heard stories of like giant spiders in the caves we, would inhabit, all that jazz, but I don't really care much for spiders.
No problem with regular ones, but the ones involved with that, not so much.
Does the book seem magical at all?
It is not magical.
Okay, good to know.
Well, as interesting as it is, we should probably wait till we get further away before we go looking at it too much, just in case.
True.
But that's concerning.
Obviously, I agree with that.
Do you think that maybe Jeremy drew all those creatures with the tentacles instead of spiders because he didn't know? Because tentacle, 8 legs and tentacles are. He's gonna think of an octopus and not a spider.
It's possible.
I don't know. He did make one of his drawings appear as though the aboleth was controlling the tentacled creature. I very much doubt it would be able to control the spider deity, whose name I'm loath to say.
Yeah, let's not say it. You're right, but it seems strange.
So you find a small place where you can discreetly have a conversation.
Hopefully, look over the book
Right.
where we can't be seen.
You pop open the book, and there are several messages. This book smells damp from the room. The first one, the book itself seems to be a collection of non-magical prayers to Rinth, written in a variety of languages, common, infernal, and abyssal. There are hundreds of drawings throughout it of these tentacled monsters, mad visions, the aboleth that Jeremy had been drawing, and inside of it as well, just spiders on top of these aboleths. I don't know how they'd be working. You don't know necessarily how they'd be working together, but clearly there's a connection. And then you read, "The catch again indicates a disturbance beneath us. We cannot locate the cause, but fear they may be in the water near you. Praise Rinth, she rests and waits. The Whisperer anticipates renewed lantern ghost harvests. The young one must be fed. This is how you will serve us. The harvest must increase, for the young one grows both in size and appetite. Find someone to resume the lantern ghost task and bring the candidate to the temple, where we shall appraise its worth."
Jeffrey read that in that cadence, making ooh kind of hand gestures.
Great. That.
Yeah.
So,
So
If-
we go and we take out this weird dude and his weird seafood amalgam woman thing.
Burn it all with fire. Aye.
I have that.
do you
It's a good plan.
think that's where they took the boy?
It could be. What was in the warehouse crackers?
Well, nothing of interest, really. Just a warehouse operation by the looks of it. The ship is where the interesting stuff was.
I was just wondering if there was anything in there we could use.
Not that I remember, though I do remember seeing a couple of large boilers on that ship. They could be perhaps induced to a rather explosive purpose.
Do I think that could be something I can do?
You are in an alchemist district. There's plenty of reagents around that would be highly explosive if introduced to a flame.
Maybe.
There's another piece of parchment that's tucked inside the front cover of the book. Seems to have fallen out while you were sifting through it.
What's that one then?
It says, This book contains all the invocations and prayers you'll need to learn the truth, Mr. Dory. The Dark Goddess's faithful are wary of new converts, but learn the words and they shall accept you soon enough. Seek their pulpit in the evening shadow of Frother's lamp. Praise Rinth.
Thanks, I hate it. Tell me she's not branching out. I don't like it.
No, spiders in the sea are two things that do not need to mix.
Right.
Isn't that where crabs come from?
Yeah,
That
but
is a horrifying thought.
Oh, that explains the claws.
it does, and I don't like it.
All right, so now we've got to fight a cult of Rinth on the island again. And
Of
we've got
course.
undead again. And we've got a flesh golem again. Except this time it's made out of fish pieces instead of just regular human pieces.
Wow.
Right.
So basically it's Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's just a regular Tuesday. Have I ever mentioned how much I don't care for Tuesdays?
The pool of water was on the ship, right?
Yes.
How high is the ship off the mud?
It is 50 feet off the mud. You could potentially climb the crane to get up there if you needed
If
to.
I dropped the ship into the mud, do I think that it would actually do anything, or would it just like topple the thing over?
It would definitely not make it easy for anyone inside to have survived it, potentially. It would really hurt somebody, yeah.
Also, how big is the sorry, I started that in character voice. How big is the mud underneath? I'm concerned about something being
It is really large. I don't have exact dimensions for it, but it is quite large. You get the idea that if you were to drop this ship into the mud, it would do some damage, but because of the mud's softness, it probably wouldn't do as much as you'd hoped, though it would make it a lot easier to get inside and potentially cause some damage.
All right, so are we going to investigate the ship some more tonight? Or later at least? Or do we want to go check out this Frother's lamp and see what's going on in this hidden pulpit?
I mean, it says the evening shadow, so what time is it now?
It is getting on towards dusk.
Now would be the time to go check out that Frother's lamp.
And we were told that it would be a good tavern to stay at if we were going to stay on the island.
Yes.
So we've got a built-in excuse to go there.
Yay!
Well, I'm personally of the opinion, though, Gwilyn, don't worry, that we don't actually stay there.
Oh no.
I say we ask for a room, but sneak out if we do decide to make it look like we're staying there for a bit.
Right. Let's go then.
As you walk over towards the Frother's lamp, the sun hits the island at such an angle that the shadow of the lantern and the lighthouse stretches out across the beach. And the very tip of it lights upon a break in the seawall. A deep cave entrance, entering down into darkness.
Well, fuck.
You're not wrong.
And that's where we're going to end tonight. The entrance of the hidden temple having been revealed.
Eep.
Thank you,
Cave of
everybody.
No.
Thank you, everybody, for
Very
coming out
cave of
tonight.
Nope.
We are dark the next couple of weeks because it is the winter holidays, so we will be taking a break. Thank you to my amazing crew, as always, for putting up with my ramblings and me losing the plot sometimes and entirely talking too much and doing things like making Gellin a pit fighter for my own amusement. So thank you all, as always. Once
So for being
really
awesome.
quickly, we'll go around the table and tell the folks where they can find you. For those of you who are artists, let us know if you have commissions open. And let's go ahead and we'll start with Coral.
All right. Hi, everyone. I play Coral, and you can find me on Twitter at amethyst_magic with a CK. You can also find me here on Tuesdays playing Val, the Grave Cleric for Shenanigans. And you can find me on the Geek Thyself podcast, which releases every Wednesday with a new topic.
Right. And Jaffer.
Hi, I'm Zach. I play Jaffer. You could find me on Twitter at DuskFayDruid. You can also find me on the Nerdsmith Discord, where I run one-shots.
Excellent. Crackers.
Yes, of course, you can always find me here on Friday evenings for this particular stream, which we will see you again in the new year. And my friend Matthew, my associate, you can find him on Twitter at Matthew A. Siebert, and you can follow his podcast, The Land Above, at TLA Podcast on Twitter as well.
And Fortune.
I'm Jay. You can find me on Twitter at J with 2 Y's TXT. I do art, like the art for the stream, and my commissions are open right now. Yes.
And Gwilyn.
Autumn Blaze, I play Gwilyn Hayes, and you can find me on Twitter at Laslanta Blaze. I am an artist and a writer. I do have commissions open, though I am slightly busy at the moment.
It's all good to know. And I am Tessa. I am one of the directors at Nerdsmith. You can find me on Twitter at SelkyDreams. And here every Tuesday night playing Bonnie, the half-elf bard for Shenanigans. And then every other Wednesday, you can find me on In Vain, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast, playing Dallas, the Gangrel. If you like what we do here, please consider supporting us on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/nerdsmith, become a supporter, get access to amazing bonus content. I will be discussing with my players this weekend what kind of bonus content we might like to create for the coming new year. And becoming a patron just helps us keep making amazing content that we can give to you guys, helping us support members of our community. It is a huge help. We love being able to put out the content that we do, and becoming a patron just makes it so we can make even more of that content that you crave so much. A huge thank you to our incredible sponsors, World Anvil and Die Hard Dice, for being fantastic people. If you want to roll with the best, visit dieharddice.com, and you can use the code SALTY for 15% off your first or your next order of Die Hard Dice. And right now is World Anvil's World Ember event going on. You should go check it out. Become a member of the guild. Check out all of their interesting free features, and if you like them, become a paid member. It is an incredible feature that they have created. Lastly, again, thank you to Angela, Darling_Gibson, for our opening trailer, and thank you to Logan for all his work behind the scenes in keeping our stream going and looking good. You are all amazing. Thank you, our audience, for coming out and watching. We really, really appreciate it, and we will see you in the new year. So as I like to say, carry on, you funky little tieflings. Good night, everybody.